The city had two kinds of people, those who looked down from glass towers and those who looked up from the soil below. Ethan belonged to the towers, Amara belonged to the earth, and yet somehow love found a way to bloom between them. At the edge of the city stood the Lawson estate, a mansion so large it cast shadows on the streets below. Marble pillars, imported fountains, windows that reflected nothing but wealth. Inside lived Ethan Lawson, heir to the Lawson Empire, a global dynasty built on hotels, oil, and power. He was tall, well-dressed, but there was something about his eyes. Behind every smile lived a question, a quiet ache that even money couldn't cure. He had everything except peace. Every morning he watched from his window as the gardeners worked below, trimming hedges, watering roses, turning the soil beneath his family's feet into beauty. And that's where he first saw Amara. Amara was 19, the daughter of the family's head gardener, David. She moved through the gardens like wind through leaves, gentle, constant, never calling attention to herself. Her hair shimmered like sunlit soil. Her hands were rough from work, but her smile could soften the sharpest hearts. Ethan noticed her one morning, kneeling by a bed of dying roses. While the other workers rushed, she took her time, whispering to each flower as she pruned it. He asked her once, "Why do you talk to the flowers?" She laughed, "Because even things that can't move need to know they are loved." That was the moment something inside him changed. Days passed. Ethan found excuses to walk through the garden. Sometimes he'd carry coffee from the mansion and leave one cup beside her. Sometimes he'd ask about her plants, pretending to care about soil acidity when all he really cared about was hearing her voice. They talked about everything, dreams, fears, books she borrowed from the library on her way home. He told her he envied her. She laughed again. "You? The billionaire's son envies me?" He nodded. "You have something I lost a long time ago." "What's that?" she asked. "Simplicity, freedom." And for a while, he forgot who he was supposed to be. He was just a boy and she was just a girl in a garden full of sunlight. But secrets never stay buried long in mansions. One afternoon, Mrs. Lawson, Ethan's mother, looked down from the balcony and saw her son laughing with the gardener's daughter. She froze. That night at dinner, the storm began. "Ethan," she said, setting down her fork, "you've been spending far too much time with the help." He stayed quiet. His father's voice followed, low and sharp. "She's not one of us. You ruin yourself with foolish distractions." Ethan looked at them, realizing in that moment that wealth had stolen their hearts long ago. He stood up. "She's not a distraction. She's real. That's more than I can say for this family." His father's hand slammed the table. "End it, or we end you." Ethan met Amara that night in the garden, beneath the same roses she had once saved. "I have to leave," he said. "My parents, they will destroy your father's job if we keep seeing each other." Her eyes glistened. "I don't care about their money, Ethan. I just care about you." He touched her hand. "I'll come back for you. I promise." She smiled through tears. "I'll wait, even if you don't." The next morning, the Lawsons sent him away to manage their overseas properties, far from the garden, far from her. Time moved like a slow tide. Ethan built the empire higher. He appeared in magazines, on screens, everywhere except in the places that mattered. But every night, he dreamed of death under her nails and sunlight in her hair. And every time it rained, he swore he could smell the garden again. Amara stayed in the city. After her father died, she took his job, tending the same estate where her heart had once lived. Neighbors whispered that the gardener's daughter still worked for the family who broke her heart. But they didn't know that she stayed because love had roots too deep to pull out. 10 years later, Ethan returned, older, wiser, but still haunted. His parents had passed away, leaving him the empire and the empty mansion on the hill. He walked through rooms filled with silence until he stepped into the garden again. The roses were blooming, and there, kneeling by the fountain, was Amara. She looked up, startled. He hadn't changed as much as time said he should have. And in her eyes, he saw the years he had lost. They didn't speak at first. Only the wind between them dared to move. Then she whispered, "You kept your promise." He smiled. "So did you." Tabloids came next. Headlines screamed, "The billionaire and the gardener's daughter." Reporters chased them. Investors threatened to pull out. Amara begged him to let her go again. "I can't watch them destroy you because of me." He shook his head. "They can't destroy what I already gave you." "What's that?" she asked. "My heart." The storm raged. Months of scandal, loss, humiliation. But the thing about storms is the end. A year later, Ethan sold part of the Lawson empire. He built something new, a foundation for green spaces, gardens across the city, in memory of his father's gardener and the love that grew from the soil. He married Amara in that same garden where it all began. The wedding was quiet, hidden from the eyes of the world. No cameras, no crowds, just the soft hum of bees and the whisper of roses that once watched two hearts fall in love. Ethan held Amara's hands beneath the arch of white lilies. His voice trembled as he said, "I don't need a mansion to feel rich. I just need this moment and you." She smiled through her tears. "And I don't need forever, just one lifetime beside you." They kissed, and for the first time the world around them felt still. The air carried a promise that love had finally won. But love's victory often awakens old ghosts. That night, as the last guests left and the candles burned low, Ethan and Amara walked together through the empty garden. Rain clouds rolled across the moon. A chill brushed through the flowers. "Strange," Amara whispered. "The roses, they're wilting already." Ethan frowned. They were in full bloom this morning. A thunderclap echoed in the distance. The fountain lights flickered. Somewhere beyond the walls, a shadow moved. Ethan turned. Nothing. But Amara saw it. A tall figure watching from the edge of the property, dressed in black, holding something small, metallic. A photograph. Their photograph. The figure slipped the photo into his coat pocket and disappeared into the night. The next morning, a letter arrived. No return address, no signature, just 6 words written in crimson ink. Some roots were never meant to grow. Ethan felt the weight of the paper, thick, expensive, familiar. And in the corner, pressed faintly into the parchment, was a seal he hadn't seen in 10 years, the Lawson family crest. He looked at Amara, fear softening his face. "This isn't over," he whispered. "They're not done with us." She took his hand. "Then let's face them together." Lightning cracked outside, casting the shadows against the wall. 2 shapes bound by love, but surrounded by darkness rising once more. And that's where their new story begins, because love doesn't end at the wedding. Sometimes that's when the world truly starts to test it. Will Ethan and Amara survive the secrets that still hide in the Lawson legacy? Or will the past tear them apart before their love can bloom again. You'll find out in the next chapter. The Gardener's Daughter, the Root of Revenge. Until then, remember, even the most beautiful gardens can hide the darkest soil. If this story gave you chills, hit like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next part of this tale when the truth finally comes to light. Tell me in the comments what you think that letter meant, who sent it, and what secret still haunts the Lawsons, because the garden story has only just begun.